Hey, can you help me measure the impedance of this new circuit that I'm making? Impedance. I-M-P-E-D-A-N-C-E. Impedance. Impedance is a tough one to talk about on this podcast because in reality, impedance is an electrical engineering term that relates to so many other electrical engineering terms that could be the subject of their own episodes on the Engineering Word of the Day podcast. I mean, impedance would relate to alternating current, or AC, which we could talk about. It relates to capacitors and inductors, which we could talk about. It relates to imaginary numbers and phase angle and trigonometric functions and power and all sorts of stuff. So you know what? I'm not going to describe all those other terms. And instead, I got to challenge myself to right now come up with a very simple way of summarizing what impedance could be or what it is. And I'm going to try. Well, first I'll start off with, you might understand the concept of resistance. It's that part of the circuit of an electrical circuit that resists current, that resists the flow of electrons. It takes the high-powered electrons and it converts some of that electrical power into heat, and it stops the electrons from flowing. And so to some degree, and that's what resistance is. Well, resistance describes something that is part of, basic circuits. You got a simple flow of electrons, you stop it from flowing as much, and that's resistance. Sometimes we have more complex circuits than that. Sometimes our electrons are not just flowing in one direction. Sometimes they just go back and forth and change direction all the time. They're going in the positive direction, then they go in the negative direction, then they go in the positive direction, and they go in the negative direction again. And they just do that forever. And we make circuits like that all the time today because we live in the future and we like our power, and we have to power a lot of our machines with this current that changes direction all the time. And when you have this special type of circuit with changing direction of our electrons, well, we can't just describe those circuits with resistance anymore. We have to go up one level. We have to expand our understanding. We have to graduate from our middle school math into college math, and we have to use calculus and algebra and other tools to describe the behavior of our electrons in these more complex, spastic circuits with electrons that change direction all the time. So in these more complex circuits, we have the concept of impedance. Impedance impedes the transmission of power in these special types of circuits that have electrons that flow in different directions. And that's probably as good of an explanation that I can give right now in simple terms. Suffice it to say that you probably should learn a little bit more about trigonometry and calculus and imaginary numbers and build some circuits before we can get into the details. Impedance is our engineering word of the day. Hi there, this is Pius Wong, producer of this podcast and producer of the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast. If you're into what you've been listening to, and if you're into engineering or education or some combination of the two, go on over to www.k12engineering.net to find out more about what I'm doing. Thanks for listening.